Hello and Happy New Year. I am Katrina Brittingham and welcome to another episode of High Tea with Me. And this is the first show of the second season, and it is the first Monday of the new year because the new year fell in the middle of the week. So, what I like to talk about in the beginning of the year, because everyone tends to want to do things new. It's a new year, new things, new attitude. And so what people find is along the way, maybe by February, about 80% of the people have not uh, followed through on their goals or have dropped the goal, and definitely over 90% before the end of the year gives up on their goals or their New Year's resolutions. I stopped a couple years ago setting New Year's resolutions because I never kept the resolutions. But when I started setting goals, then I started meeting those goals. And I'm going to walk you through the process that I did to meet those goals. And I know we spoke before about SMART goals, and that seems to be a buzzword in career and even business now. Oh, set SMART goals, set SMART goals. But and we went over what SMART goals are, so I'm not going to go through all of that. Last year, near the end of the year, I went through a whole series of what SMART goals are and how you set those SMART goals. But we want 2020, this new, because this is not just a new year, this is a new decade. So we want to make sure that we are hitting those goals. Like a whole decade is pretty much that's a generation. So we're going into another generation. The people who think about it this way, the people who were 10 in 2000, are now 20. So they're adults. They're the next generation that's out in the workforce. So in the next 10 years, the same thing. The people who are 10 now, they're going to be entering in the workforce. They're going to be 20 years old or may have even been in the workforce for a couple of years, because really you have people when you're 18, but you have a whole generation of things that are happening. So if you want to not be in the same place you were 10 years ago, not even 10 years ago, but last year, and I had determined that a few years ago, I'm not going to be in the same place. I'm not going to do the same things that I did. I'm not going to go into the same circles. I'm not going to have the same ruts. You want to have a plan to get yourself together, and not just a plan, because this is what I found too. And I found out at the end of the year because I was on SMART goals that helped me do everything, making things specific, making things measurable, making sure they're attainable, making sure they're realistic, and making sure they're time bound. That helped for me, and that helps with a lot of people. But you have the people who are in consistent plan mode. Like they'll write the vision, they'll make it plain, but there's no action behind it, meaning they don't have action behind it. And that vision board, that tablet, that piece of paper, the stone that you carve things into, whatever means you use, is sitting there and is collecting dust. That I have to admit, in all transparency, that's happened to me as well, where I sat something down. With me, I sat it down, I forgot it was there, and then came back to it. But I made sure that I put some things in place to make sure that those things don't happen to me anymore. Because the worst thing that can happen is you go back to a goal that you could have completed 5 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago, and you didn't because it was a forgotten goal. So first and foremost, once you have your SMART goals, you want to break things down, because you can have your overall goal. By the end of the year, I want to be $100,000 business. I hear people say that all the time, or I want to be $1 million business. Okay, well, how are you going to get there? That's your overall goal. Number one, to make it realistic, you have to put a time on it. It's the same thing with people who say, oh, I want to lose weight or get healthier in the new year. That's great. How are you going to do that? What's your weight goal? Is your weight goal realistic? What time frame? are you looking to lose that weight? You know, is it measurable that you're on your goal? What are you going to be to your goal months? After a month, do you want to lose 10 pounds? In 2 months, do you want to lose another 10 pounds or do you want to have 30 pounds? Are you going to work with a coach? Are you going to work with a fitness coach? Are you going to work with a nutritionist to help you reach those goals? What is the cost for that? So those are the things that help you get there. And when I set out the goal for myself, when it came to health, that's what I did. How much is this going to cost? What type of exercises am I going to do? Am I going to work with a personal trainer? Am I going to work with a nutritionist? What amount of weight do I want to lose by a certain amount of time? Is it realistic? Number one, when you find out if something is realistic and it's something like weight loss or something like that, you want to get with a personal trainer because, you know, there are all kinds of plans out there that say, oh, you can lose 60 pounds in a month or 30 pounds in 30 days. But is that realistic for you? Is that a realistic goal for you? Because a lot of times they don't tell you these people who lost 30 pounds in 30 days may have been like bodybuilders and weightlifters, and they have a certain regimen that they do that gets them to that weight. And they were not, you know, 300 pounds when they started and everything like that. And so their body is trained and conditioned to lose that weight in a certain amount of time. They may not have, like you might have a health condition. But I'm going off topic because we're talking about business and we're talking about your career, but it's the same thing. If your goal is to be, you're in corporate America and it's like, oh, I want to be the vice president of sales. Number one, is it realistic for you to be the vice president of sales? Do you have the sales experience? Do you have the education? Is the position available in your company or do you have to go outside the company? If you don't have the education, do you have a mentor that can help you and to guide you to be successful and to move up into that area that you want to be in? So you see, it is how you write out your goals and you sit with someone who knows that can get you to where you need to be and put down specific times and goal moves. What do you have to do in this time frame to do this? What do you have to do? Do you have to go back to school? How much is that going to cost? Do you need to get this training? How much is that going to cost? Does the company supplement this or reimburse me for this training? Those are the things that you have to look at when you're going to find out if you can be that VP of sales one day. And the thing about it is you can be that VP of sales, but is it going to happen in a year? Is it going to happen tomorrow? 9 times out of 10, depending on where you are, it may not happen in a year. You have to know and know where you are and know what you need to do and what you need to get there. And it may be that you can get there in a year or a couple months, but it may not be at the company you're at. If they already have a VP of sales that they're happy with, and say they just started last month, you're not going to be the VP of sales in 3 months, 2 months, a year. The chances of that are slim to none. So those are the things that you want to look at. When it comes to your business, oh, I want to be $100,000 business. Great. How are you going to get there? Have you started the business yet? Do you have a good foundation? Have you done market research? Do you know who your niche clients are? Do you know who you speak to? Is your marketing, plan set in place? Are you set up as a corporation? And I'm not giving you these things in order, but these are the different things that you have to consider when you say you want a $100,000 business. Number one, where are you going to finance your business from? Because it takes money to make money. And so when you're starting out in business, you do need to have some capital that you're investing into your business, be it you're bootstrapping, like I have done in my business, which means I was taking my income, savings, and different things, and even income that came in from the business to fund the business. However, there comes a time where bootstrapping is not necessarily going to be enough, and you're going to need to have some financing and capital. So that's where your business plan comes in, and having your foundation in, showing that you have done your research, that you know your people, that you know how to market your people. Social media network marketing is huge. Doing lives, doing TV programs like this, online TV programs, podcasts, lives on different social media sites are phenomenal for getting the word out there. But then also you need to have a growth plan. What happens when you do start to grow? Because everyone wants to grow, but not everyone is prepared for growth. So you need to have a plan. Who do I need to hire? Who do I need to hire to do my books? Who do I hire to do the marketing for me? Because remember, you're the CEO. If you go into the CEO, because everyone calls themselves a CEO, and I'm not saying that you're not. You are definitely a CEO, but if you look at corporations, they are set up the way they are for a reason. If you look at small businesses that have grown to a certain amount, they are set up the way they are for a reason. The CEO, the owner, the founder is not doing accounting. They'll have the accountant or the controller report to them and give them reports. They'll monitor the books, yes, but they're not doing that. Why? Because they don't have time. The company has grown to a certain extent where they don't have time to do that. You don't have them doing network marketing. They might do videos, but they have a whole staff of people who are operating the video camera, that's doing different things, even the day-to-day things in the business, answering the phones, doing paperwork, things like that. They have people that they've hired in or contracted to help take the weight off of them, because once there are only 24 hours in a day, and it takes a lot to run a company. And unless you plan to work all 24 hours of those days, and I'm telling you, you can try it, but you are going to burn yourself out. So you need to have a plan and some goals to help you get there. If you need to have your website built, if you don't know how to build a website, okay, you might want to try to create the website. But right now, I personally would not suggest it. I'm not saying not to do it. I'm just saying I would not suggest it. I did it when I first came out in business, 8 years ago, because I'm going into my 8th year. Now, I did it. It was a very basic site, but where technology has gone, and with social media, and now things are on people's cell phones and things like that. People do things a lot mobilely on their tablets and things like that. I just would not suggest it, even when it comes to security. Because when you get into creating your own website, now you are your own host. Unless someone else is hosting for you and you're paying a whole lot of money for them to host for you, for them to own your domain. Because if you go through some of these sites that I'm not going to mention, because I'm not going to put nobody's name out there, but if you go through some of these sites that say, oh, come to our site and you can buy a domain and you can build your website right here, guess what? They own your domain. So if you decide later to have someone in tech support come and build your website, and I'm saying this from personal experience, then you can't do it if they decide they want to use a different platform, because now this company owns your domain and you have to put in to buy the domain back to them. Now, mind you, you paid for the domain and paid them every month the domain fee for your website, but you don't own it. It's registered under them, and you have to actually pay them to get it back. And so you want to make sure that you know how to do that and you have those goals. But again, you want to take things bit by bit. Okay, I need to do my marketing plan. When am I going to get that done? Is that realistic? Maybe I need to hire someone. What's the deadline for it? Is that realistic? How much is this going to cost me? once you have the business up and running and things like that, is again, you want to have, okay, now I need to transition this part of the business over to this person. How long is it going to take me to get someone? How long is it going to take to get them up on board and up to speed? How much is their salary going to be, or the rate that we negotiate if they're a contractor to do this? These are the things that you need to do and to figure out. Where do you want to go and where do you want to see yourself in business? And so that is what I would say for you to achieve your goals, and have an accountability partner. That was one of the big things that helped me in 2019, especially as things got busy, because I have a whole executive coaching practice, but then I have a broadcasting network and 2 shows, a TV show and a radio show. And so things became very hectic and very busy, and I found myself writing down things and going back and said, oh, Dad, yeah, I did say I wanted to do this. I had a natural accountability partner that just kind of evolved to me, a coworker of mine, an ex-coworker of mine, who started contacting me. She had a long career, and she decided to retire from the company that we had worked at. I worked for 20 years. She worked for about 30 some odd years at the same company. And she decided that she wanted to come off and retire. And so we started, communicating every now and again. And so she's like, oh, so what's up with you? And I would let her know what was going on. And the next time I would speak to her, she's like, well, whatever happened to what you said you were going to do? The first time she did, I was like, I'm working on it. She's like, okay, so when is that going to get done? And so it gave me accountability. So the next time she got me so motivated, because I didn't want to talk to her. If I talked to her about something new that I was doing, I did not want to talk to her again. And she asked me about it, and I knew she was going to ask me about it. And I didn't have any headway with it, because you might not complete the goal by the time you speak to your accountability partner, but you've taken some steps to get there. And so I did not want to sit in front of her or have a conversation with her on the phone and be like, yeah, I haven't started that yet, and everything. So it motivated me to get, things in gear to get where I needed to be. And so, and an accountability partner is not someone that nagged you, because she didn't. She would ask generally, so, what's going on with you? Okay. So what happened with this? Did you make any headway with that? It was very general. At the same time too, I had a business coach to help me build certain aspects of my business, help me see some things about my business that I didn't see, because I had gotten to a point that some people get to when they are in business for a while. And so I kind of got a little stuck. I kind of got a little stagnant in my business, whereas I was getting business in, but I wasn't necessarily seeing the growth that I wanted. And so I started speaking with a coach, and there is a cost for the coach, negotiated the rate, and just speaking to them allowed me to see areas that I didn't see myself. And I came with an open mind, not, oh, I have all this together. I let them know I actually really don't know what the issue is. As far as I know, I've been doing things the way I was supposed to be doing. So I'm open to looking at my processes and seeing what I don't see. Because sometimes we're so busy in the day-to-day functions as entrepreneurs and solopreneurs that sometimes we are missing key pieces that will affect our growth. And so one of the things, and the biggest thing, was outsourcing certain pieces to other people, because he's like, you've grown past this point. And so now you're running out of time during the day to do what you need to do and to be creative. You're so busy doing the day-to-day things that you don't have time to be that visionary and to be that leader. And so even though I had assistance, I knew that I needed to outsource some other things. And so that's where I wind up being. We discussed my overall vision, how I was presented out to the world, whether I was reaching my core people, which I was, because I do research on that, but it helped me to see things a little bit different. And I did actually make a shift at the end of 2019 that prepared me for 2020. And so when you have your goals set out, because this is the thing, no plan, no goal is set in stone. And you want to have enough wiggle room for you to pivot, because as life happens and as things happen and the day-to-day operations of business happen, even big corporations have to tweak their vision for the next 5 years, which is their goals, which is their plans. Because in theory, things are great and everything will work out great. But life has a way of showing you, okay, well, we thought this would happen, but that's not necessarily what happened. And so you have to be able to maneuver well. And it doesn't mean you didn't meet your goals. For 2019, I wanted a podcast for myself, and I ended up with a radio show and a TV show. It's not that I didn't reach my goal. I actually exceeded it, because you have the podcast that's sort of radio, and then you have the podcast that's TV. And so when I was looking at the possibilities of it, having my own network and having my own shows, and it was a good plan. And also it grew further than I thought, because I ended up with a broadcast company in which now I can bring on people who want radio shows and TV shows. And so that's what I'm saying about, okay, you had a goal. Be willing to pivot, because the fact that I was willing to pivot helped me be able to see things that I didn't necessarily have on my radar, and it opened me up to more opportunity. And so look for that. When it comes to your personal goals, because with your career, you have to look at your personal goals. You have to look at, where am I health wise? And we talked about the losing weight, and if you want to lose weight, but sometimes it's, if you work from home, if you're a solopreneur that works from home, is getting up from the desk, doing that exercise, take a walk around the block. I found that in 2019, I had packed on some pounds that I didn't expect to pack on, because I was working from home and everything. And you do a lot of sitting down when you're working from home, a lot of computer work as a coach, sitting in front of the computer. So I did not wait until 2020 to start my regimen that I'm going to do, changing my lifestyle. And I've already lost about 10 pounds. So I'm happy about that. I'm still going on my merry way with my weight loss goals, but I have a plan in place. I have a nutritionist that I'm working with. I have the exercise plan that I'm working with. I'm also working with my primary care physician to monitor me, and trust me, they monitor every time, because they weigh you and they're like, oh, you're doing good, or oh, you slipped up there, didn't you? So I have that accountability partner for that. You want to plan in and have time for leisure during your business time. And you don't have to go to the Bahamas or some sunny place, but you need to have and plan and schedule in time to have time for yourself. I would say each day, each week, a couple times during the month and during the year, you want to have some quality time with the most important client you have, which is yourself. And I would, it doesn't have to be hours and hours. It could be 10 minutes. It could be 15 minutes meditating. It could be 30 minutes. It could be 15 minutes, depending on who you are, praying, reading a book, something to take your mind off and to de-stress. As an entrepreneur, I do recommend to people that, number one, you take clear breaks during your day, a breakfast break, a lunch break, and a dinner break. Because one thing that entrepreneurs do is that we're so busy walking and running and things like that, that we will miss meals and everything like that. And guess what? Your meals are your fuel for the day. And contrary to popular beliefs, you might have some people who don't eat and they get real skinny. Well, guess what? There's a population like myself who, if you don't eat, you're going to pack the weight on by the time you start eating, because your body is in starvation mode and it's sucking up everything it can, because it's like, I don't know the next time I'm going to eat. So you want to make sure you do that. You don't want to be in a place where you're exhausted. You can be in the hospital or worse from exhaustion. So you want to make sure that you have the time for yourself, that you set aside that family time that you have. And that was one of the goals that I had for 2019, to spend a little more time with my family, because I was always working and I kept saying, just once I get this, once I get this, once I get this. Well, there's always going to be a goal for you to go after. So you need to make sure that you plan and schedule time for that. So that's one of the things that you want to make sure that you do when it comes to your overall goal planning. I just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything. So leisure goals, organization goals. What do you need to be more organized? With me, for my office, I got little drawers to put different things in, because other than coaching, again, I know I'm talking about all the stuff I do, but I'm talking about having time. But I do have some balance. I do teach ESL to students. I'm an early riser, so for maybe like the first 2 hours of my day, I'm teaching ESL to students. And so I have props and things. So I bought drawers to put the props in. To organize myself for business, I have electronic files that I put things in so that I can do that. I have, cloud storage for files and things like that, for videos and things and stuff that I do, for electronic files. Like, everything is electronic. I tried to take everything out of paper and put it electronic, because it's easier for me to put my hands on. I don't have to worry about it getting damaged. I don't have to worry about misplacing it, accidentally tossing it, or just having a whole bunch of paper around. Because you'll find the more organized you are, the clearer your thoughts are. At least that works for me. The next thing you want to work on is your spiritual goals, if you have them. If you're a spiritual person, you want to make sure that you work towards those spiritual goals. So setting goals in this arena will help you live in line with your values. So that means that these goals will be highly individualized. So my goals spiritually won't be the same as your goals spiritually, because it's what your values are. So when you start setting these goals, you want to take a look at your beliefs, consider the big questions that you want to answer. What is your why? And to do some self-reflection and meditating. Talk to your spiritual advisor, whether it be a pastor, whether it be whoever your spiritual advisor is. So you want to talk to them, and that will help you to do it. So you want to keep in mind that your SMART goals, you can have that for this too. So you want to be specific so that you know that you are reaching where you want to be. You have unique relationships. So you want to work on your relationship goals. And so you want to make sure that you maintain healthy relationships. And we talked about that a little bit with your family, but also your friends, your colleagues. All of this helps shape your life and shape who you are. So you want to make sure that when you're in a relationship, that your goals are mutually agreed upon with the person that you're sharing your life with. So that could be your spouse, that could be your best friend, that could be, whoever it is that you're sharing your life with. You want to make sure that you are mutually agreed upon with your goals. So y'all can have a thing of, okay, you work 9 to 5, but from 6 to 7 is my time. If you need to go back and do something else, that's my time. If you have a special event, okay, we can work through this or whatever, but you want to make sure that that's in alignment with what you, with your life, so you can have a balanced life. If you're not currently in a relationship, the relationship that you should work on is working with me, working with myself, your number one client, until you're happy with the person that you are. Because a lot of times we're so busy chasing success that we will find that we're not happy with the person that we are. And so when you reach that elevation of success where you want to be, there are many people who find that they're still not happy. And so you want to make sure that you work with that and make sure that you're the kind of person that you like, and that when your partner does come or spouse does come, you can be that person that partner needs to have and wants to have. So you just want to make sure that your overall life is balanced, and you can do that with SMART goals. And I'm hope that you received how you can use SMART goals, having something specific, measurable, realistic, and time bound. I think I did them all. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. There you go. So to make sure that you have that balance. And again, break your goals down into smaller sub goals. Breaking them down, and you can have the overall goal. This is overall what I want to do. But to get to this overall picture, I need to break down into these sub goals. And once you reach those sub goals, you can reward yourself with, it could be a treat. It could be, going to the park, taking an hour off, taking 2 hours off instead of 1 hour off if you normally take that for your lunch, to reach your goals. So you want to make sure that you celebrate those goals as you reach those places that you want to reach. But I do thank you so much for joining us for the first season of High Tea with me, and have a wonderful night and Happy New Year.